Okay, ladies, I haven't made a video in a while, but I had a friend online on Facebook ask for some tips on how I made these castles out of foam packaging from flat screen TV that I recently got. So I'm just going to walk you through the basics of how to do this pretty quickly because it is rather simple. It's just foam here. But let's start with this first piece here. So the main thing is that this is just a shape that came out of the packaging surrounding the TV, which must have sat, down in that slot there. And you could see all the shapes of the foam, which are kind of conducive to castle walls. Even these little strips here, that was part of the packaging. So here's another TV that we just bought. Here's the packaging. And you can see, you could see those little ridges, which would work perfectly for a nice big long wall. Now you may have to cover up some of this weird stuff, but man, this gets you 90% of the way there. So, and then I just add things like this vertical piece here was just some foam that I cut and angled for this section of the wall. And the main thing is just make sure you have enough pieces, whatever you're working with, to make it symmetrical. And then the key is I used for up here is some foam, gym mat flooring, and it's rubberized. So if you see, I can bend these castle battlements, and nothing will happen. They won't snap. So that's really important when you're playing games, because inevitably this becomes a shelf and people want to lean on it. I mean, this thing's indestructible. You can basically lean on it and throughout the game, and it won't crush itself. So once you got your cutouts, I mean, this gym mat flooring is pretty hard to actually cut. You have to use a blade. You can't just use a hot wire cutter like I used on other things. But if you want to build up with more little pieces, like this is a piece of foam right here that was to help bridge the gap between what I'm doing here. This is another on the top, right? This is just another piece of foam. And then I carve in my stones with a hot soldering iron. So I highly recommend you get these. They're pretty cheap, nice sharp tip on that. And adjustable is great if you can, but it only needs to be, let's say, 500 degrees or 450. And this will just allow you to carve in these stones super fast with a straight edge. And even damage, so you're able to just quickly make damage and cracks super fast, saves a lot of time. So like this gate over here, it was another piece of packaging, and it kind of had the archway already part of it. I just added some foam layering and cut my stones in that way. And then to make the sides come forward, this is just cut off. I literally just cut a piece off from the wall or the foam, and then brought it around to the front and glued it to the front, and then made everything symmetrical. So, I mean, you could see this is, let's look at the back here. Even that gate was part of the foam. I just colored it brown. But the back, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's got some kind of character to it, but that's about it. Let's see. Well, actually, I got another one here. This is a big tower that goes on the end. This happens to be one big-ass piece of foam. But you could, if you wanted to make this, you could just use 2-inch strips or, of layers of foam and glue them together to build your bulk up using XPS foam. This is the kind of foam that is the cellular foam that has the little dots. So what I do to help reduce the amount of bubbles or dots that are there is I come through with a heat gun, and that kind of melts it gently, to get rid of those dots and create some other textures. Like up here, you can see how rough it is. This is just from the melting But yeah, you use ventilation, obviously. Anytime you're using the solder iron or the foam being melted, you want to be in a nice, well-ventilated area. I did the same concept with my Blood Bowl board here. This is for Blood Bowl. My stadium, I just made foam and cut out, or use the solder iron to make all that. And that thing folds up, which is pretty cool. It's got like a little locking mechanisms. Okay, lastly, regarding painting, so you want to Mod Podge the whole thing. Preferably add some black paint to your Mod Podge so that the nooks and crannies get dark. Actually, before that, when you're gluing things together, I use a combination of hot glue and wood glue. So the hot glue, little dabs of that just helps it instantly bond. It may melt a little bit the foam, but it's not that big of a deal. And then the wood glue takes over for the rest of it. So a hot glue gun is definitely your best friend. But back to the painting. So I think this is pretty much almost like a near white. Actually, yeah, I started more of white. So maybe you leave your Mod Podge white. And then that allows you to come over with different washes to make it turn almost gray. And so brown washes and black washes is what's going to get into those cracks. If you wanted to do darker tower, like a darker castle, yeah, I would start with some black in your Mod Podge to get in those cracks. But for this Minas Tirith type of thing, I start with white and then work my way down with lots of washes. And then, of course, little bits of green for slime, or, you can make this as detailed as you want. All right. Okay, lastly, guys, I'll wrap this up. The template I used for the Minas Tirith battlements is found on the Zorp website, and he has a link with some PDFs for templates you can print to make those kind of weird shapes and then use. I transferred it onto some cardstock so that I had a more durable template, and then used a blade to cut that rubberized gym flooring. And then so this build it's pretty quick and easy. If you're not looking for an exact replica, Minas Tirith, this is close enough. It's versatile. You can use it with other games. It's durable. I made mine about 10 feet long with different sections that are modular, so that makes it nice. And I even had to make stools, or like little footstools, so that the players could actually reach over the battlements. I realized that after the fact. So I took this to a convention, played a 6-player game against each other, 3-on-3, battle in front of the walls there. And we use one-page rules regiments for something big like this. It's real quick and fun. I highly recommend it. And if you want to see more about my digital backdrops and how to make those, like what you see here, including the Wetaworks I just put behind to make the rest of the castle look big. But check out my videos. I have a quick, easy way to do digital backdrops. All right, cheers.